correctly.
There might be a reason we do turn away from that.
Yeah.
As long as we start, I'll have to wear headsets.
Um,
Not yet, but if people keeps
Be careful.
refusing to use the mics, it's not off the table to get y'all boom mics.
Man, he's
I feel like Britney Spears. Is there anyone who's joining online? Okay. Well, because I knew of 2 people going to be out, so okay. Yeah, we can go ahead and get started. Yeah, no, I knew about Larry and then Dick being out, so I just wasn't sure if anyone had to join online. Because Dick was maybe going to join online. I don't remember. It's fine. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. It looks like it's you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take roll. Committee member Horton indicated he would be out. Committee member Grentz. Committee member Knowles also indicated he would be out. Committee member Jones. Here. Committee member Schumacher is absent. Vice Chair Dalton.
here.
And Chair Ray.
Here. Okay. I hiccuped, I'm sorry.
And then we'll move on to consideration of approval of the minutes.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the August meeting? 8, 9 seconds.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
And then at this time, we'll recognize visitors, open up for public comment.
You know we're going to ask.
Alrighty. And then old business, the Community Health Forum Subcommittee appointments.
So
think
we'll
we're-
postpone that to the next
moving past
meeting.
that until we
Mhm.
have a fuller table.
Mhm.
And then the fluoride vote process update.
There were a couple questions that were left outstanding
okay.
from the last meeting. So I know there was a question about how many valid signatures would be required if there was a petition effort. So when I inquired of the county on August 28th, at that time, 15% of registered voters would constitute 1,165 valid signatures from Sweet Home voters. And then there was another question just about the process if there was a motion to reconsider. So I did get clarity from the city attorney. So again, to reiterate, someone who voted yes to repeal the ordinance would need to make the motion to reconsider. Then anyone on council could second that, and then we would need a majority vote to place it on a future agenda for another vote. And again, that only applies in the first 6 months. Past the 6 months, it can be placed on the agenda by anyone on council with majority support or by the mayor.
Awesome. Thank you for looking into that.
Of course.
Did anyone have any questions about that? I think those were the only questions. Okay. And the new business park communication board.
Yes, so this is just something I wanted to bring to the committee. I saw this in another municipality and I thought it was a really cool idea. I'm going to have Adam bring it up on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. So basically, it is a visual image board with all kinds of relevant park-related images so that people who have challenges communicating or who are nonverbal are able to still have social interactions with people who are in the parks. And I know we have a lot of folks in this town that have challenges with that. I have some in my family, and I just thought this was a really interesting, inclusive thing that we could bring. So I reached out to the company that does this. A large size board would be a little bit over $2,000. which I think is very reasonable. So I just wanted to open it up to the committee. I know some of you are interested in things like this. Some of you have connections to folks who might be interested in donating. Is this something that the Community Health Committee would be interested in supporting for a fundraising effort? It's fine if you don't have capacity, but I wanted to bring it to you because I felt like it fit in very neatly with your goals. No, it's just totally physical. So basically you go and you point to put together what you're trying to say. So you can ask someone to play on the swings with you, or that you want to be picked up, or you can spell your name, or if a kid is lost, they can point to their mom's phone number, stuff like that. So it's basically just another way to include folks in having fun and enjoying our parks.
I have a question. I know, I think it was last year, maybe even, Kelsey, the previous
Mhm.
city manager, was that her role, manager?
Mhm.
Okay, had mentioned something about an initiative for making Sweet Home an autism-friendly city. This seems like something that could fall, like, where they, did we get that grant? Did we not get that?
No, so that was one of her city manager goals. I will tell you, once she left, we had to reevaluate all of those. When I looked into that actual certification process, we were nowhere close
Okay.
to being able to achieve that. So that kind of came off the list as we were getting our arms around the first year. I'm not saying that it's not something we're interested in, but it has a lot more milestones that are required than we felt we had the capacity to achieve at that point.
Okay.
But this would definitely be supportive.
Yeah,
Of
I was
that.
gonna say, that it just seemed like something, I know we have a lot of autism in our friends and family, and there is a lot of nonverbal that goes along with that. And so
Mhm.
I was like, oh, maybe this is something that we could tie into that grant somehow, but that's good to know.
I will say the PD has gone through just a small mini certification process for that. And so we all had training for that. It was within the last couple of months. So just FYI.
Good.
Thank you.
No, from my point of view, in fact, I've got some stuff I'm going to share towards the end of this meeting, which ties directly into what you're showing. Because one of the things I look at as a health committee, what makes a healthy community. And part of that is engagement. And you think about mental health and ways we can improve. You know, we look at mental health and those things, and I'll share at the end. But to me, this is engagement. This is allowing everyone that has a disability of some sort to be engaged. And engagement, you feel good about yourself. So it's a direct of what I want to talk about later. But no, I think this is very good. I think that's something we can build upon.
And would the plan be to place it at Sankey Park?
That would be the first location. Obviously, ideally, we'd love them in every park
Yeah.
eventually, but I think since that's our most heavily used park, that makes the most sense.
And it'd
So
be 2,000 for the one board.
for the one board,
Okay.
yeah. So if the committee is supportive, then yeah, I'll kind of figure out how we want to structure this. And then I'll come back and if maybe we can put a letter together if you have folks that you want to distribute it to who would be interested in donating. For another 100, we can put up to 8 sponsor logos on it, which I think would be worth it. So
Okay.
again, if there's
No,
medical
great-
system
great
or
idea.
something, yeah. So yeah, I thought it was a great idea. I got excited about it, and I think it's a really easy way to get more folks feeling included
Yeah.
in our parks. So
Absolutely.
Is this something that we could team up with, like the Parks Committee?
I
and-
talked about that with the staff liaison. They have a lot on their
Okay.
plate already. So certainly could, but they're working on a bunch of other fundraising initiatives. So we just didn't want to spread them too thin.
I just don't want it to be like we're stepping on toes and coming into your space.
No, I understand. And again, so I had a conversation with that staff liaison and we think that they would be thrilled
Okay,
to
perfect.
have this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else about the board from anyone here?
No, I think it's a great idea,
Okay.
you know. People with disabilities plus young children too, you know.
agree.
And then committee business for the good of the order, Suicide Prevention Month, Lynn County Resources.
Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight that September is Suicide Prevention Month. And so I gave y'all just a little handout. It's not just limited to Lynn County, but I wanted to highlight that the county's annual community walk for mental health is this Saturday. It does look like pre-registration is closed on their website, but if you show up at 9, you can register on site, and then it's just a little walk starting at 10. And then I added some resources. Oh, I misspelled text. I apologize for that. But basically 988 or texting talk to 741-741. Those are 2 crisis lines for folks experiencing mental health, totally anonymous, totally free. And then there are some cool community training opportunities through Lynn Together. Just various resources for folks if you are trying to spot people who might be having mental health challenges, or how to support people who are suicidal or experiencing depression. They have a bunch of courses that you can sign up for. And then also findsupport.gov automatically redirects to a county site where you can find all kinds of mental health resources to support mental health. So I just wanted to get that on the record. And then we actually got some resources from them. So we'll be putting out a social media post by the end of the month with some of these resources as well on our Facebook. And I'll also highlight this on our website.
Is this the walk that's in Lebanon?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I think
Because I know Lebanon.
I think this is the one in Albany, and I think Lebanon's is different, but I could be wrong because there
Okay.
wasn't a ton of info.
I
on their
think they have
website.
one Saturday too.
Okay.
Through the Lebanon Area Mental Health Alliance. So that's why I asked.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think Dick Knowles sent me that they were having this walk. So
Mhm.
I was assuming it was Lebanon.
And again, maybe it is. There wasn't a ton of info on their
No,
website.
no.
So
Mhm. And then letter of support, Strawberry Park wetland.
yes. So I feel like I'm dominating this agenda. I'm sorry, guys. So the city is planning to submit a grant. It's a green infrastructure grant, basically to do some improvements at Strawberry Park. It's one of our neighborhood parks. It was originally supposed to be the park that was going to receive upgrades first, but then we shifted to Sankey because Sankey's more of a citywide community park. But so Strawberry's been waiting about 11 years for planned upgrades. And so if we got this grant, basically, we would do some wetland improvements. There is a wetland there. So we basically scoop that out, do some restoration, move the playground so it's not sunken in the winter, install some trails. Adam, do you want to pull up Strawberry Park? Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought I was the only one that
He
didn't know.
is.
It's like Kelsey's gonna have a question.
Basically, it's a beautiful little space tucked away. But the amenities are just not really there yet. And
Yeah.
so this would support native plantings, again, some habitat and ecosystem restoration, some upgraded trails, and some large scale tree plantings. So that would be really nice just to make it more usable. And then we're planning to piggyback this with another grant opportunity to upgrade all the playground equipment. So that's where it is. And then Adam, if you just want to show like the streets and then in relation to Maine, for example.
Oh, like in the upper avenues, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think.
If you
It's
turn,
where our community garden is.
Oh, okay.
if you turn down first and then take the first right on Andina, and then I think this is Westwood,
Yeah.
and then you end up here. So the community gardens are up here in this top left. That's these boxes. And then down here is the existing playground, but it's very, very wet in the wintertime.
Mm.
But it's a big, beautiful open space.
And unfortunately, we've had to take some trees out because of the health of the trees. So putting some natives back in, we could restore that tree canopy. And so I already have letters of support from the Park and Tree Committee, from the South Santiam Watershed Council, from Lynn County Parks and Rec, and from the Chamber of Commerce. But again, I thought Parks kind of has a lot of crossover with community health. So I figured if the committee's supportive, that Chair Ray, you would be willing to sign as well. And so I have a
Yeah.
copy of that in your packets.
So the whole park is actually very, very wet, but this southern portion, there are some naturally occurring springs. And then over here on the west, this is really wet too. Up where the garden boxes are in this top section is the driest. And I say driest as a relative compared to the rest. It dries up first in the spring.
Okay.
So doing, incorporating, like Cecily said, some sort of watertight drainage feature would actually help the usability of this park because it's wet most of the year. You can kind of see in the picture where the grass is greener than the rest.
Oh, yes. So there was a design done 11 years ago that's just been sitting on the books. That was kind of updated as part of the park system plan. Yeah, it's specific to this park and the wetlands at the park.
You're going to hate me, Ken, but can you please use your mic?
I'm sorry, I forgot. Uh, so the plan that's already in paper
Mhm.
shows all what needs to be done and
Mhm.
what it would look like in the future then.
Correct. There will be some upgrades because I think the original plan didn't focus so much on native plantings, but we partnered really heavily with the South Santiam Watershed Council and they would stay on as a consultant. But basically, yes, it took into account the drainage challenges and then constructing amenities around that drainage once the wetland is restored.
Thank you.
Would I just sign this or do we need a motion to like approve it as the committee and
I
then?
think consensus is totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have to write it. It's a beautiful letter.
Mhm.
I just have to put my name on it.
Yeah, she looked, I go, whoa, I haven't seen that before. I said, yeah, now. So,
So we're all in agreement. I think,
Yes,
yeah,
I
it's all
support
for
that
better
also.
parks.
Yeah,
and
we support it.
improvement. So.
awesome.
Alrighty, anything else?
Yeah.
Oh,
She goes, oh no, Bob's going to speak.
buckle in.
Now, with what you've shown up there, it makes me think back of some of the other discussions we had, but I was sitting there today and I thought a lot about what this committee is about. What does this committee mean to Sweet Home, to the leadership? And my first question I asked myself, what is a healthy community? What's that look like and what does it mean? And as a health committee, we've always been really focused on really a narrow point of just health services. Where our focus has been health services, making sure that we have that information out there. But as I thought, there's more to it than just we have health services and we'll continue to build upon those health services as we identify them. We've put out lots of information around it. We have a health fair built around that. And then I went and started breaking it down is what a healthy community was. And the very first one was just the social cohesion in our community. In other words, it's strong relationships between the community, leadership, and our committees, our city council, being out in the public, being seen, building that relationship so people learn to trust the committees and the leadership and our agencies and services. It's a community events that encourage intervention and engagement. The health fair does that, but we just lost the music festival, which when you think about it, that's a big engagement where people come together, involved, put their differences aside, and enjoy life. And when you really think about that, that's a lot has to do with mental health and how you feel about your community, yourself, and your environment and each other. Engaged. Access to healthcare was the other piece of that picture. And I think we've really been pushing well in Sweet Home. We got a new clinic up here. This committee has done some great things of bringing people here talking. Preventative care and healthcare, those things will always be out in the forefront of that. The other one was safety and security coming to my mind. You know, when we think about a healthy community, residents knowing that they're safe, which comes from having services like the police department, crime rates down. Again, people start feeling good about themselves and where they live. And also safe public spaces. I mean, if we know our parks are safe and we, the group and the parks group that I was on and the leadership in this community have really enhanced our parks and made them a place where people want to go and feel safe and good about themselves. The other side of that is environmental quality. Of course, that's easy. That's clean air, clean water, which we just had a discussion over fluoride in great depth. But also spaces that promote physical health. And we think about parks, we talk about hiking trails and green spaces. So again, I think we have opportunities in those areas. Sustainable practices in community gardens, which we just put up on the screen. I mean, I wrote this, I haven't talked to anyone here, but those were my thoughts. And I thought it's well aligned with this committee. And as Cicely said earlier, you know, do we support grants in that? And I think in a bigger picture, this committee can be a lot more engaged and involved in some of these activities and embracing and helping them develop those. Community events, I was thinking about UCAN triathlon. If this committee would put on some suicide walk prevention programs, whatever that is around health. We could have a kayak program that bring in people from other cities to here to come kayak on our lakes in the summer months, make it a paddle for cancer or something, what it is, prevention. I think that's one, how we educate people, we engage people, and we really get into the bottom of helping people with mental health and that. So, I mean, that's kind of my thoughts around this one. I think we have a real opportunity as a committee to grow a lot bigger than where we're at. So that's kind of my thoughts around that. I mean, I go deep and I can expand a lot on these because each of these could be broken down, but I think we've got good people on this committee and our leadership that's sitting here today and our public person that's real quiet back there in the back, but she's on board with this too, I'm sure. So anyway, that's my thoughts about us, because we were working real hard to come up with this public presentations and thing. And I backed away from that and started looking at it from a different set of eyes. You know, what does that look like? Instead of having necessarily forums and trying to educate the public, maybe we take it to them in a whole different direction, such as making sure our parks have maybe some exercise equipment. And I mean, I just got back from Hawaii, and the parks over there, they have everything from chin-up bars and things, and just some little exercise stations. And I'm thinking we could add that into our parks here very easily. The communication board you had up there, perfect fit for educating the public. I mean, that's about autism, but I'm sure they make boards for other information that could be around mental health and physical health. So, so I think if we kind of look at it that way, maybe come back as a group and maybe explore that a little bit more, I think we could get pretty doggone creative in our thinking and go after some of these things that grants and things that we can go out and support and get some of these things put in. But when I hear $2,000 for that, I go, that's not that much to get. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. You bet.
The only other thing would be, and this might even be too early of a meeting to talk about it, but just to get everyone thinking. I know last year we did an alternate schedule for like the last few months because of holidays and stuff. And so I don't know if we want to start thinking about what that would look like if we would only have like one meeting between November and December, but I may not be at the December meeting, so I just thought it was something we should think about. But that was all I had.
I want to go backwards a bit.
Yeah.
From what Bob was just talking about. I so strongly support that, the mental and physical health together as one. And with Quarry Park in particular, we have such a huge asset there. That's a place where we could really, make a difference with it. So that's when I'd really like to look further into what can we do to make that key piece of our city usable. Even start with what we can do to help with the invasive species, Himalayan blackberries that take over that part of the world.
So we are very invested in Quarry. I will tell you there are a lot of challenges associated with improving and developing that property, but we have a lot of irons in the fire right now trying to make that more usable and more public friendly, because we think it is a completely untapped, incredible resource. So
and I'm aware of some of this. I'm just hitting it again, because this is just another source, another way with the health, I'll say not just the committee, the health aspect of it to help promote that and help with all the challenges we have, like the ash board that's coming in, now the polluted water that has come in with the drawdown, where we're having these problems we didn't envision we'd have with invasive plants. It's just a huge thing. So and of course that'd be a great spot somewhere in there for a community garden amongst other things. So I just want to add to what Bob said. Great idea. Let's
Yeah, I would add.
from every angle that we can. Let's keep working.
I would add to that too, is great ideas. I particularly resonated with what you tied mental health into community gathering events. And so I really appreciate that because staff has been actually already thinking and planning about those types of things for this next year. Some sort of event in the spring and a larger gathering in the summer for the 4th of July, since it's a big year, number 250 for the nation. So we have some ideas, that we're kind of running with right now, and we definitely resonate with that. So we want to create more gathering spaces and opportunities for people just to have a good time and gather together.
Well, I think also with this committee, there's knowledge here and there's resources here. And I think this committee could be used to be engaged in some of those discussions to support but also share our ideas and thoughts about it. And it just generates that whole thinking process. It makes it more of a positive spin on it. So I guess I'm saying you don't have to be out there alone thinking that, as Cicely said, you got too many irons in the fire. There's a bunch of people sitting up here.
It's not too many. It's just a lot.
I know something that we've talked about in the past would be like having an initiative at an event where maybe there's the Harvest Festival going on, but the committee is hosting a fun run or something. And so I think that's something like somewhere that we could team up with the city or whatever other boards are putting on these events to say, hey, during this week, we would like to host this health initiative. Like, how can we partner up? And I think, yeah.
And again, I think it also goes back to our city council. We've got a change of people. And I really feel that this committee can help support but drive city leadership to think about health in a whole different way. Because it's never really been an agenda item because we don't really look at it as an agenda item or even a budget item in a sense. But when you talk about these kinds of things that we're talking about, you go, oh, those become budget items somewhere in the city's budget, wherever that fits, but it's out there. And I think that generates the city council to get more creative in their thinking instead of just, we're here to pass a policy or a budget to expand their knowledge and thinking. And it just makes them a stronger group as well.
Anything else from the? Oh, okay. Meeting is adjourned.
Sure.
Short and sweet. Felt like forever.
Yeah, I was going.